Japan has always been on a different level when it comes to disturbing stuff. Their folklore is already terrifying on its own, and then there are their games. Their games don't rely on cheap jump scares and scary background music. Instead, their games mess with your head and leave a long-lasting effect. Today we are looking at 5 games that leave exactly this effect. LSD Dream Emulator. LSD Dream Emulator was originally released on the Sony PlayStation on October 22, 1998. This game has no story whatsoever. The player simply explores surreal environments and nightmarish surroundings. The world was conceived from the mind of Hiroko Nishikawa, who kept a journal of her dreams for 10 years. Osamu Sato took those dreams and turned them into a game where players can explore them. Each level is considered a dream that lasts 10 minutes. The player begins each dream in a random area, and from there they can start exploring. If the player walks through any object or tunnel, they get teleported to another place entirely. LSD has several static and creepy environments to explore, including a Japanese village, a field, a city, houses, and a factory. After each dream, 1 day passes in the game, and the dream the player just experienced gets marked on a graph. This game feels so disturbing because of its creepy and distorted textures, entities, and unsettling objects. There is the Gray Man, a shadowy figure that simply floats towards you. Then there are elephants raising their front legs, a dragon, a ghost woman, a teddy bear, a woman's corpse, a bull monster, and many more entities. The game also has a tunnel made of flesh where you can see a fetus. It all feels like a fever dream, which is essentially what it is. And by playing this game, you actually get to live through it. Players believe that this game had no ending. However, some players found a file titled Ending STR on the game's disc, which is a PlayStation video file mainly used for cutscenes. After that, players discovered that after completing 365 dreams, the game plays this file. But as you can see, the ending has no relevance to the rest of the game whatsoever. I would love to make a standalone video on this game. Shadow Corridor. Shadow Corridor, or Kaguro in Japanese, is a first-person survival horror game developed by an indie developer named Kazuki Shiroma under the studio name Space Onigiri Games. On the surface, this game is very simple. Our main protagonist is drawn to an alleyway because it reminded him of a childhood summer day, so he enters the lonely alleyway. But while exploring, he accidentally gets transferred to an alternate world through a mirror, a world haunted by evil spirits conjured by no masks. If you know anything about Japanese tradition, No is one of the oldest forms of classical theater in Japan, dating back to the 14th century. The masks used in No theater represent supernatural entities like demons, jealous spirits, and vengeful ghosts. You can replay the game as many times as you want, but every time the dungeons are randomly generated, meaning no 2 runs are ever the same. Only the darkness and the eerie feeling remain constant. There are entities wearing no masks who will follow you through the dungeons. Like the Kagura Bell Wanderer, if you run, they will quickly move toward the source of the sound. Then there are more terrifying entities, like the Runner, the sneaky approaching Wanderer, the Wanderer of the Alert, and the Clairsight Prowler. But the most important one is a female entity named Hibana, and the whole story revolves around her. Hibana and her twin sister Higana were born and raised in a shrine in the mountains behind the Hiruna village. Higana inherited clairvoyant powers from her mother, meaning she could see the future. But Hibana never received any powers. She was a normal girl. The villagers hated their mother because of her powers. So, to protect Higana, their mother forbade her from ever descending the mountains, because if the villagers found out that Higana also had powers like her mother, they would hate or even kill her too. That meant the villagers only knew about Hibana, who was just a normal girl. Hibana was a kind girl who always thought about her sister and mother, and she swore that she would always protect them. One day, Higana had a vision that boys from the village would be swept away by a flood. After hearing this, Hibana rushed to warn the boys, but the villagers hated Hibana too, simply because she was the daughter of a woman with powers. When the boys were about to hurt Hibana, the flood came and swallowed them. Only Hibana survived, but the villagers misunderstood what had happened. They thought Hibana had used supernatural powers to escape the children, even though those children had tried to harm her. Then, one evening, Higana learned that many villagers were coming for them. Their mother thought about hiding them in the mountains before the villagers arrived, but Hibana refused to run away. She swore she would protect her family. As I mentioned, the villagers did not know about Higana, so as long as she stayed hidden, Hibana was sure she could stay behind and protect them. The villagers were furious, believing that Hibana had killed their children, even though she was only trying to help. Higana sneaked out to see what was happening with Hibana and their mother. The villagers had already surrounded them. Their mother hid Hibana in the shrine without revealing her whereabouts. She explained to the villagers that her kind-hearted daughter could not have done something like this. But the villagers did not listen and attacked her. They repeatedly struck her with their garden hose and hatchets. The mother screamed out in agony, but they never stopped. Hibana rushed out to protect her mother. She was scared, but she still tried to shield her. Hibana could not stand a chance against the villagers. They violently gouged her cries out. The sight of her mother's broken body lying on the ground, covered in blood, was the last thing Hibana ever saw. Words cannot describe the horror and pain Hibana endured. But this experience awakened a power that had been lying dormant within her. Hibana's body shone with an intense light that swallowed everything in her surroundings. Time and space twisted and warped around the light, and that created a new world. That is how the world of Shadow Corridor was born, and our main protagonist gets trapped in it, with monsters wearing no masks pursuing him at every turn. Hibana's main motive is to revive her mother by luring people into this world and killing them. The game also has different endings based on your gameplay. The tragic backstory, the character designs of the ghosts, and the endless dark corridors truly make this game disturbing, and you, the player, have to survive all of it. Walk Sanpo. Walk, known by its Japanese name Sanpo, is a stealth horror game by Kazumi Studios. The story follows an elementary school girl who is walking back home. The whole environment is dark and grainy, and you can tell by the camera angle that someone is always watching and following her. This is definitely not a simple school-to-home story. It is much darker than that. The girl finds a 100 yen coin but walks right past it. Then she starts hearing noises and sees a tall creature with a smiling face. It has sharp talons that can easily cut you, and the moaning, screeching sound it makes is genuinely terrifying. The creature does not run. It slowly follows her because it knows it has the power to brutally kill her whenever it wants. After hiding, the girl finds a vending machine. The vending machine has a key for the gate, but it requires yen. So after going back for the coin and getting the key, the little girl opens the gate to leave. But we see through the monster's eyes that it is still following her. The girl runs fast and narrowly escapes. After everything she has been through, she finally reaches home, but no one is there. Only a TV with a strange message on the screen. After seeing the message, when she decides to leave, the monster finally catches her and brutally kills her as she screams in agony. This game also has a secret ending. In the secret ending, she decides to switch to channel 2, and she gets teleported into a new world where she can only see a blood river and smog. Suddenly, a beacon of light catches her attention, and as she runs toward it, you notice a creature watching her. When she reaches the beacon, she realizes it is not light at all, but a pillar. She starts running up a staircase, long and seemingly endless stairs, while the creature tries hard to catch her. Just as she thinks she is free, the stairs end, and the creature takes her with it. After taking her so high, it drops her and kills her. Many things about this game remain unexplained. Why is there only a little girl and a creature? Why is this town completely abandoned? Where did the monster come from? And when she reaches home and no one is there, was she an orphan all along? This game's corrupted and grainy graphics make it genuinely scary. It feels like a found footage type of game. It takes something as common as walking home and turns it into a nightmare. That is exactly what it feels like when a stalker follows you. Please stay safe. Nier, Gestalt, and Replicant. Nier Gestalt and Nier Replicant are the same game, released on the same day in two different versions. Both were developed by Kaguya and published by Square Enix, and both came out in April 2010. The director was Yoko Taro, a well-known game director. The difference between the two versions is that Nier Replicant was released exclusively in Japan on the PlayStation 3, where the main protagonist is a teenage boy trying to save his younger sister named Yona. Nier Gestalt was released in Japan on the Xbox 360 and in all Western regions on both consoles, where the protagonist is an older man, a father, trying to save his daughter named Yona. Same name, same story, same world, just a different relationship. The world's backstory begins in a completely different game called Drakengard. In that game's secret ending, a dragon dies above Tokyo and releases magical particles into the atmosphere. These particles cause white chlorination syndrome, a disease that either crystallizes you into salt or turns you into a mindless monster. That is how civilization collapsed and billions died. Their solution was called Project Gestalt. Scientists separate the human soul from the human body. The soul, called a Gestalt, is preserved safely. The empty body, called a Replicant, is left behind as a biological shell. The plan is to wait out the disease, then reunite souls with their bodies. To manage everything, android caretakers are created, including a pair of twins named Devola and Popola. The project needs one critical thing, a stable original Gestalt to anchor all the others. A man volunteers. He has a sick daughter named Yona, and this is the only way to save her. He gives up his physical existence entirely and becomes the original Gestalt. His name is Nier. The Nier you play as, the one fighting through the game's medieval-looking world, is a replicant, a soulless body copy. He has no idea. He thinks he is a real person with a real soul. He thinks Yona is genuinely his, and Yona is sick, covered in black markings called the Black Scrawl, slowly dying. Nier will do anything to cure her. The main villain is called the Shadow Lord, a powerful figure who kidnapped Yona and commands the game's monsters, known as Shades. Nier hunts haunts him across the entire game. And here is where everything breaks. The Shadow Lord is the original Nier, the father who sacrificed himself years ago to save his daughter. He has spent over 1,000 years as a bodiless soul, waiting, watching, and holding everything together. And now his daughter's Gestalt is degrading and dying, and he needs the replicant Yona's body to give her somewhere to live again. Two fathers, or two brothers, both love Yona, both have a claim to her, and the player kills the original one anyway. With the original Gestalt destroyed, Project Gestalt collapses. Every remaining human soul in existence will eventually deteriorate and die. The player character saved the copy of his daughter, but destroyed the original. Humanity's last chance died with the Shadow Lord, meaning you, the player, ended the world with your own hands. There are more endings too. Nier is not disturbing because of horror imagery. It is scary because of how it makes you kill people. The shades are real people, and you kill them, thinking you are doing the right thing. You doom everything in this game by believing that you are saving your daughter. The fun you had was built on a genocide you did not know you were committing. The villain was a grieving parent who deserved to win. The heroes are copies of people, living borrowed lives, unaware that their existence came at the cost of someone else's soul. That is Nier for you. Splatterhouse, 1988. Splatterhouse is a 1988 beat-em-up arcade game developed and published by Namco. Two university students named Rick Taylor and Jennifer Willis take refuge from a storm in a mansion, a local landmark known as Splatterhouse, because a parapsychologist named Dr. West performed hideous experiments there. As they enter the mansion, the door shuts behind them, and Jennifer screams. Rick awakens in a dungeon beneath the mansion, having been resurrected through the influence of the Terror Mask, a Mayan sacrificial artifact from Dr. West's house that is capable of sentient thought. The mask attaches itself to Rick's face, fusing with his body and transforming him into a monster with superhuman strength. With the mask's encouragement, Rick goes on a rampage through the dungeon, killing hordes of monsters. Inside the mansion, Rick finally finds Jennifer lying on a couch and surrounded by a group of creatures that retreat upon his arrival. After they leave, Jennifer transforms into a taller fanged monster that attempts to kill Rick while begging him for help. Rick is forced to kill her, and she transforms back to normal, thanks him, and dies. Infuriated, Rick tracks the remaining monsters to a giant bloody hole in the mansion's floor. Upon entering it, Rick discovers that the mansion itself is alive. He follows a bloody hallway to the house's womb, which produces fetus-like monsters that attack him. Rick destroys the womb, causing the house to burst into flames as it dies. Escaping the burning mansion, Rick comes across a grave marker. The Terror Mask releases energy into the grave, reviving a giant monster named Hell Chaos that claws its way up from the earth and attempts to kill Rick. Rick destroys the creature, which unleashes a tormented ghost that dissipates into a series of bright lights. As the lights vanish, the mask shatters, turning Rick back to normal, and he flees as the house burns to the ground and the credits roll. However, after the credits end, the Terror Mask reassembles itself and laughs evilly for several seconds. As the word END appears in the bottom right corner of the screen. The game has multiple sequels as well. The game's graphic imagery makes it genuinely unsettling and disturbing. There is a boss called Evil Cross, which consists of evil heads orbiting a central form. Players are also forced to witness Jennifer's terrifying transformation and have to kill her just to progress. The TurboGrafx Z16 port of Splatterhouse had a mock parental advisory warning printed on the front of the box that read, "The horrifying theme of this game may be inappropriate for young children and cowards." This game was too extreme for 1980s America, so it got banned from most mainstream arcades. If you like this video, then you would definitely enjoy the fourth part of Disturbing Japanese Games, and it will be shown right on your screen.